Michio.
Michio, or Yechia Mo, rather. We greet everybody, everywhere. All the hoodoo lovers all around the world. All the hoodoo lovers. So, if you did not know already, this is the Red Moon Purple Saturn podcast. And directly after what most Americans would consider, well, not even Americans, just the Western world in general, would consider the new year. We already celebrated our new year. That was back in September for us, the beginning of fall, the harvest and the planting season. The harvesting and the seeding season is when we celebrated our change of cycle. But for those of you who just went through that transition, that powerless transition over the weekend, hey, more power to you and welcome to our podcast.
Greetings, y'all. I just want to do one quick thing.
So, as she goes through that, we're going to be talking about hoodoo love through our marriage vows that we created prior to our creating our own marriage or wedding ritual, where we became united as one pair, one duo, one complementary entity. We created our vows, and what do we have? Is it 7 of them? No, we have more than 7. I never even counted how many of these we have. But we have them. They're based on the Akadabin Both song. So from Awusida to Memenida, we created a vow that coincides with the function and the energy of that specific Abo psalm that governs that specific day.
Yep.
And that is what we are bringing forth on today. We have had a very long week. We had a lot of family over, had siblings over, did a lot of eating, things that we don't normally eat. So we're tired, feeling a bit lethargic.
No, I'm not feeling lethargic.
No,
Mm-mm.
not feeling lethargic. I guess I don't really feel it physically, but I kind of feel it mentally. You know, I haven't really been eating foods that support brain function. But, starting my fast tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get my brain and my body back in alignment so I can be clear and focused. Things of that nature.
I would say I'm not fatigued in that sense either, but I do notice slower processing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that with all the people over, that was an emotional stress for me.
Okay.
So not having them here right now, I'm actually kind of happy.
Yeah, I know you like your space. You know, it takes time and space for you to maintain your mental and emotional integrity. And I think a lot of people would agree with that sentiment. You know, it's great to have family and friends over, but a lot of people just need space to be you, space to think, space to breathe, space to recalibrate yourself.
Yeah.
But you know what? We should talk about this image. You know, we haven't really broken down why this image exists.
Oh, the image for hoodoo love?
Yeah.
Well, I created this image because I'm a child ahead of her. And her animal totem is the cow, the female cow. Well, if you get technical, a cow is a female. And to refer to the male bovine it would be a bull. But she is the great Kot's pet. And with that energy and how she fuses complementary opposites, sorry. That part, I wanted to resonate that energy because, during her year, the new year that we had celebrated in 13,018, after that new year came into being, you and I got together.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the Adinkra symbol. Do you remember what it's called?
That's Sesavo Subain.
Yes.
That's ultimately my contribution to this image. It's a adinkra that was sacred to me. It's about transformation. It's about reversion. But that star in the center, as I look on it now, it's sort of like the divine consciousness and the energy that exudes from that divine consciousness, that having sort of that solar center. And I think most people would probably say, well, the solar center is the heart, it's within the chest. But you have that abosom, that divine consciousness that dwells within the head region and also represents a planetary body, and always, or not represents, but is in possession of a planetary body. And with my kra being, or with me being governed by Ajo, the planetary body that governs my head would be the moon, but also Awusi, he possesses the sun. So we have sun energy, we have moon energy, but it's about, for me, coming into recognition of what is happening within the brain portion of my spirit body, and allowing that to change me, allowing that to, change my attitude, my behavior, my sense of self-worth, my sense of integrity and dignity, my value, my reason for existing, which helped me through, depression, and helped me through self-destructive behaviors, knowing that I have a place not only in the world, but I have a place in the universe. I am a constituent. I am a component of the universe at large, and my existence has meaning. So we fused these images together, or my wife, she fuses images together, and we've been rocking with this image ever since. Ready to start?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Sure enough.
So our first vow.
A good thing went to sleep. Oh, there it is. So, as I stated, we base these vows on the energy of the Akradin Bosom. And the Akradin Bosom of Sunday, or Awusida, is Awusi. You may know him as Asar or Obatala in different cultural expressions. So Nana Awusi, please teach us divine order. Teach us to maintain perfect integrity, providing a model for us to follow. Teach us to become united in marriage.
So this next slide, you see different pictures that we have encapsulated the memories of how we united. Majority of these pictures surround our first year together. Some of them are within months of that first year, but yes. So we got married, our Wade ceremony. We did a ritual at Victoria Bryant State Park in Georgia on December 30th of 13,018. We both were moving from two different cities and converging into Georgia, where we didn't have any community around us, any family. It was just us. With that in mind, we realized that in order to operate in this system, the society that we do, it was best that we at least have legal documentation that they understand that we are a union. So we decided that we would have a court ceremony during the Shemut time of the year, which was at that time the summer solstice, which is June 21st of 13,018.
Yeah. I like looking at all these different photographs. It helps me, remember where we were, where we came from, kind of looking into our eyes, and I'm looking into my own eyes and remembering what state of mind I was in different portions, different intervals in life, and just all the different transitions that I've come through and that we've come through together. And I think it's really important that we have been laying a foundation that other people have been inspired by. Those of us who are components of the Ojita mind, and those who just have a general interest and affinity to Nana Som in general, whether it be Yoruba or Vodou, Hoodoo, Akan culture, whatever the case may be. I think we've just been blessed to be able to provide an example, or to show people that it can be done. You know what I mean? People can come together based on their culture, based on their having similar ideals and philosophy, and they can make it work.
Yeah, we didn't date for very long. It was pretty much, we were Facebook friends for some time. And most of the time we discuss Ajita Kwesi's work and philosophy. Sometimes we would share jokes or funny videos, but majority of the time when we talked, it was over our philosophy, our religious beliefs. Then when the opportunity arose, we just pretty much moved forward on a situation that we both thought was promising. We did check it via ritual, so we did do that. But it's been magic ever since.
We move to the next one. Nana Adjoa. Some of y'all might know her as Aset or Odua in the Vodou. Nana Adjoa, please teach us divine order. Teach us to behave wisely. Help us to give birth to children.
And we did. Babra reincarnation. Our son, Kwame and Jamu Maati. He was born to us at home with the help of a Kwamu mind, Ojita mind friend on Kitawansa, which is July 19th of 13,021. And please, I understand I have a typo. It keeps bothering me every time I look at it.
Oh, it said 10,321.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's enough dyslexia in the world for nobody to notice that.
Yeah, it took 13 hours from the start to finish. We did delayed cord cutting. We had a birthing pool. I was in and out of it, partly because Kwame was too relaxed when I was in it. So I had to do a lot of walking. Those contractions were something else. But between my husband and the friend that we had, I was able to get through the process. And it definitely was an initiatory process.
Absolutely. So, Nana Abena, please teach us divine order. Teach us to eradicate disorder. Please give us guidance and direction. Nana Abena, please teach us divine order. Teach us how to purify and heal.
Yeah, I don't have a slide for this one outside of this. This is one of the vows that we are still working to uh, manifest, get better at.
Yeah, well, this is one of the tenets of ancestral religion that we need to master, I guess is the word, as far as what to accept and what to reject. And really, I mean, I think we do know what to accept and what to reject. I think it's more so about discipline. And we've been to accepting, I guess you can say, and integrating some things into our lives that we shouldn't integrate, and allowing it to sort of weave into to the fabric of our lives, which makes it more difficult to, extract, So mainly for me, it's just really diet, you know, diet and certain things that I indulge as far as entertainment, social media, things like that. So,
Well, I also just feel like it's a process because the reality of it is we both have different life experiences, different things that have marked us, different things that have imprinted upon us and how we act, how we respond to the world, respond to ourselves, and respond to each other. And some of those things we've gotten better and understand and mature in, but other things it's taken a little longer, especially when in regards to diet, to really be disciplined to overcome any type of temptations or influences rather than saying temptations. But, outside of that, we pretty much do pretty well. It's just, also learning how to operate in this world, in this society, and still hold on to our hoodoo principles.
yeah, I mean, I think ultimately for me, at least, it's, I have to choose, and that's what it's about. It's about decisions. It's about making solid decisions and standing by them. And like I was expressing to you when we had a conversation a couple of days ago, was not being swayed by things that are transient, not being swayed by by impulses, not being compelled to go off track by feelings, by an emotional draw to something. And not to say that any of that stuff is invalid or that it can just simply be ignored, but part of the process of dealing with it is not allowing it to take you, away from your center, or quote unquote off of your square. So I've been dealing with just not allowing myself to be swayed back and forth by feelings and temptations that I know they're not permanent. They come and go. They come in cycles. They come in waves. And it's about riding out that wave and doing different things that I know work to help me help me ride out that wave successfully, rather than just succumbing to those mental and emotional pressures that I typically succumb to.
And it's also, when you were saying all of that, I started thinking of Heruba Hudet, the son of Ra, and Sekhmet, who was the how to describe her? Basically, she was like the apple of Ra's eye in some sense, especially when it came to eradicating his opposition and understanding those things. I mean, obviously, we've gotten to a place in our healing and our modern chi within ourselves and outside of ourselves that has brought us together, because we couldn't you can't maintain this much of a relationship, let alone any healthy relationship, if you both are so deep into dysfunction or have so many different philosophies or so many different things that are pulling you back and forth in so many different areas and not having a way to come back to center. And I know my husband's talked about it before. He's definitely said that it's not impossible to be with someone who shares a different philosophy or different outlook on life, but it does make it very challenging. And since we didn't have to do that part, we were able to focus on getting to know one another.
That is true. That is true. You know, we live our lives based on the same culture. We understand and ascribe to the same cosmology. So we have the same philosophy. We have the same attitude towards certain things, moral fiber, all those different things that sort of act as the foundation of a person, and it orients them, and it's like the basis of their behavior essentially, and their goals and their ambitions essentially. You know, so when you have that much in common with a person, it makes it easier to develop synergy and to have a cohesive bond, you know, and to establish a family that's going to live by principles and protocols, and everybody be in alignment with those principles and protocols, rather than there being sort of these arguments within the house about how to handle particular situations, because you and your spouse have different ideas, you have different philosophies. And of course, me and her, we both have different ideas, you know, but because we still have that foundation, that cultural foundation, we're able to find cohesion in those differences. They still end up being complementary to a degree, you know, because, yeah, you know, so.
Nana Awuku, Nana Kua.
Nana Awuku, please teach us divine order. Teach us to be honest, true in communication. Nana Akua, please teach us divine order. Teach us spiritual balance and understanding. Teach us sacrifice and offering. It's small. I can't, it's too small. I mean, you ain't got to worry about trying to change it. I'll just read it off the TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way that principle is, or tenet has manifested in our life is the idea and the birth of Red Moon Purple Saturn podcast.
Here we are.
We created this in Ahimene 13,019, which is 13. It would have been October of 2018. Was it really?
No, it was 13,019. So that means
but in the Gregorian calendar, that would have been 2018.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't realize how soon.
You know what? No, you know what? It was 13,020. It was 2019, so it was 13,020. But yeah, we started this in October 2019. You know, once we had gone through that process of like getting to know each other, and we still are, but once we had like more of a firm foundation and really understanding each other and how to communicate with one another, we noticed that we were having like really good conversations. You know, we were having really good in-depth conversations that we felt like other people needed to have access to, these conversations that we were having. And we still have them to this day. And sometimes I wish I had my recorder ready for the conversation that we have just on a whim, because we have really, really good conversations about a lot of stuff as far as family and community, and, you know, a lot of the societal ills that we're dealing with. But the Red Moon Purple Saturn podcast is all about, you know, giving and receiving. It's all about communication. It's about the reciprocity that comes with that sort of communication, that the giving and the receiving of energy giving and receiving of intellect. You need that spiritual exchange that you have when you engage in deep conversation with a person. It's a beautiful thing.
That, and it, just like he talked about before, it also reflects in how we communicate with each other on a day-to-day basis, and even when we have disagreements. There's been plenty of times we've gotten so mad at each other, we've walked out of the room into separate places, or one of us is going someplace and to get some air, and then we'll come back, discuss it, and then move on like nothing ever really happened. And I'm not saying we deny or ignore that things actually happen, but what I'm saying is we just moved through it, and it didn't degrade the relationship in any way to where we're looking at each other like,
Yeah. And plus, we aren't really people that hold grudges like that. Well, at least not against each other. I think you might have a few grudges against some people out there in the world.
Yeah.
But we've never done that in our relationship with one another, you know.
Yeah. And for me, if I have a hard time moving through something, it's because I still feel some kind of way about something that I'm holding on to. And a lot of times, if we just talk about it, it helps me to kind of put that into a balanced perspective.
Nane Yao Heru Shango. Please teach us divine order. Teach us law, order, courage, bravery, and determination. Nana Ya, Nana Abba. Please teach us divine order. Teach us internal balance and external balance.
So that has manifested through the different things that we've done individually, in regards to like the Heru Core, Amma's crafts. We've spoken at the, what was that, the Hoodoo Mine this past, earlier in the year. I've also done Obatan Sim classes. Of course, I craft when I have time and do ritual readings. My husband does mentoring.
Yeah, we do the manhood training and mentoring. Very much still trying to get the Heru Core off the ground. So if you know any young boys who require mentoring, sort of like a big brother sort of a situation, but also inclusive of ancestral religious tenets and philosophy, and the discovery of self, so they can sort of go through the same process that I went through, where I was having issues with my identity and my self-worth and my purpose and my reason for living, reason to live in general. Nanasom, hoodoo, Akan culture. When I reverted back to that ethnic tradition, ancestral tradition, I was able to restore my identity, restore my sense of worth and value, and restore my reason for existing. So it's a very, very sensitive, and it's a very, very necessary process for not only young Black men to go through, but everybody. But I specifically focus on Black boys and Black men. So you can go to www.herucore.com. Check that out there.
Now, I know you talked about what you're trying to do and what you're giving with Heru Core, but can you touch on like what are your expectations, I guess, maybe of families whose sons you want to mentor?
The expectations of the families. The expectations of the families. Well, you have to understand, anybody who's familiar with us, anybody who's familiar with Kwesi, I think you have an understanding of certain of our tenets especially a modern chi, what to accept and what to reject, and the firm stance that we have on disorder and the purveyors of disorder. The cultural practices are the pseudo cultural practices that have manifested in European societies, the pseudo philosophies that have manifested in European society, all of these sort of all this confusion regarding gender and the hypersexuality and just all these different things. We have a really hard we draw a hard line on all those things, and I teach boys and black men that these things need to be rejected because they are divinely rejected. They are divinely hated by the Abosom. So it's about as far as the families go, on the family side, I'm going to instill within people these philosophies, and they would have to be reinforced. So that's mainly why I take on people who might not be well versed in ancestral religion, but the best bet is to have people who kind of already understand what ancestral religion is and understand the tenets that we live by, so that there's no confusion and there's no divergence between the philosophy I teach your son and the philosophy you're teaching your son. Because anything that's not reinforced, is going to fall away. So I suppose that's essentially what I would expect from the families. It would be for you to also share in the philosophy that I share, and if not, if you break down what I've built up, then we're all wasting our time. You know what I mean? It's essentially, so things like that.
Gotcha.
Nana Afi, Heteru. Nana Afi, please teach us divine order, teach us harmonious marriage, teach us how to sustain our marriage, our mind, our intention, our action, our wealth.
In other religions, she's known as Oshun, Erzuli. So she's very special. This slide, focuses on the things that we focus on together. There's a lot of moments where he and I definitely do things together. Try to have date nights, initiate just different things to kind of recenter with each other, to have quality time, being able to balance family and our work life and our spirit life, and still hold each other accountable, but also being there for each other. Working in tandem for a lot of things. It's also, for us, I look at these pictures and I think about how many times we both checked our egos and valued what we brought together over our own personal feelings or misguided feelings, and move towards those goals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nana Amen Min. Please teach us divine order. Teach us religion, culture, and nation building.
Well, part of that was shown when it comes to the religion and culture. It's just the fact of the creation of the vows.
Right. And these are, we did it in Twi and we did it in English. We did it as best as we could in Twi. But we took the time to go through the dictionary and look up these words and try to understand sentence structure, and also based on what we learned by Ojidafo Kwesi and putting together his Ebes, what's the word? What's the word for prayer?
It's Ebe. Well, Empire.
Empire.
Yeah, Empire. Yeah, because it's multiple plural.
So yeah, we took a lot from his format as far as how to put sentences together, and we made our own vows, and we're doing everything we can to live by them.
Yep. And then our last slide is the nation building part, the Mamre part. Or Masesu, I'm sorry.
Yeah, these are different family and friends and members of the Ojita Mind and people that have influenced us and people we've been able to influence. And we've had a great time. We've had a great ride up to this point with these people. And we look to move further and continue to progress with the Ojita Mind, continue building.
Ashe.
Well, we want to thank you all for coming out to our TED Talk. We appreciate y'all. We want to try to keep these things coming regularly. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you can always reach us on Facebook or Instagram or email us, so on and so forth. I'll make sure that our links to our websites and our links to our emails and contact information will be in the link and in the description and whatnot. So let's build, man. Let's keep this thing on.
Gotcha. Well, the most important email of way of contact is Red Moon Purple Saturn.
I'm going to put it in the link.
At gmail.com.
You're not going to try to put it, are you?
No.
Okay.
I just felt like that would be the easiest because
that's true.
You don't have to phonetically spell anything.
Yeah, no numbers. So yeah, we thank y'all for coming out, man. You ready to put this thing down?
Do.
So yeah, y'all have a good night, and we'll holler at y'all on the next one.
Yes, sir.